Two men appeared in Ashtabula Municipal Court Wednesday, August 26th, for arraignment on charges involving the brutal murder of 36-year-old Mandy M. Gottschalk. 24-year-old Kyle W. M. Starky of 5535 Washington Avenue, Ashtabula, is charged with murder and gross abuse of a corpse. 20-year-old Ryan J. McBride of 6900 Water Circle, North Kingsville, is charged with obstruction of justice and gross abuse of a corpse. Both men, appearing before Judge Laura DiGiacomo, requested court-appointed attorneys, and DiGiacomo said she would set preliminary hearings, which determines if there is sufficient evidence to bind the pair over to the grand jury. The coroner's office ruled Gottschalk died of blunt trauma to the head, chest, and abdomen. She was beaten to death.
In the matter of State of Ohio versus Kyle W. M. Starkey, case numbers 15 CRA 1349 and 15 CRA 1350. Are you Kyle W. M. Starkey? Have you received a copy of the charges? When did you receive a copy of the charges?
30 seconds ago.
Okay. Have you had the opportunity to read those charges? Do you understand the nature of the charges against you? Would you like me to read those charges, or would you waive a reading of the complaints? You wish to waive a reading of the complaints then?
No, go ahead.
You want me to read it? Okay. In 15 CRA 1349, it states, on or about August 15, 2015, in the city of Ashtabula, county of Ashtabula, and state of Ohio, one Kyle W. M. Starkey did purposely cause the death of Mandy M. Gottschalk. This is known as murder. It's in violation of Ohio Revised Code Section 2903.02A. It's an unclassified felony. If convicted, the prison term is an indefinite sentence of 15 years to life and a maximum fine of $15,000. Do you understand the nature of the charges and the potential penalties? In case number 15 CRA 1350, it states, on or about August 18, 2015, in the city of Ashtabula, county of Ashtabula, and state of Ohio, one Kyle W. M. Starkey did treat a human corpse in a way that would outrage reasonable community sensibilities. This is known as gross abuse of a corpse in violation of Ohio Revised Code Section 292701B. It's a felony of the 5th degree. If convicted of a felony of the 5th degree, it carries with it a minimum of 6 months confinement, maximum 12 months confinement, up to a $2,500 fine as well. Do you understand the nature of the penalties and the charges? Must make you aware of your constitutional rights. You have a right to a jury trial. That would not take place here, though. That would take place in the Court of Common Pleas. You have a right to confront and cross-examine witnesses against you. You have the right to subpoena witnesses in your favor. You have the right to require the state to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You have a right to testify at that trial, but you cannot be compelled to do so. You need not make any statement at any point in these proceedings. However, any statement you do make can and may be used against you. You have a right to a reasonable bond. You have the absolute right to represent yourself. However, you also have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, the court will appoint one for you. It's a $25 application fee. You have a right to a reasonable continuance as well to secure an attorney in this matter. Because you've been charged with 2 felonies, you have the right to a preliminary hearing. A preliminary hearing is a probable cause hearing that will be scheduled in this court within 10 days. It's a probable cause hearing to determine if a crime was committed and if the appropriate person was charged with that crime. If probable cause is found at that hearing, the case will be bound over to the grand jury for further proceedings in the Court of Common Pleas. Do you understand all your rights? Because you have that right to a preliminary hearing within 10 days, I will only take up the matter of bond and whether and how you want to proceed on an attorney. Are you going to be retaining your own attorney?
I want to appoint.
And you want appointed? I'll have you fill out the application court-appointed counsel. We'll see if you qualify. It is a $25 application fee. And does the state wish to be heard on bond?
Thank you, Your Honor. As I indicated, the investigation is ongoing in this matter. However, based upon the information available to me, there is substantial credible evidence of the defendant's guilt, and the likelihood of conviction, I would say, is quite high. In light of that, we believe the risk of flight is also quite high. We therefore recommend that the court consider imposing a bond in the charge of murder of $750,000, cash, surety, or property, and in the charge of gross abuse of a corpse, $15,000, cash, surety, or property.
Anything you wish to say, Mr. Starkey? I have considered the factors setting forth bail and the right to bail under Rule 46. And due to the nature and circumstances of the crimes charged, I will follow the recommendations made by the solicitor in this matter. $750,000 cash, surety, or property bond on the count of murder. And $15,000 cash, surety, or property on the count of gross abuse of a corpse. Anything further?
Nothing on behalf of the state.
That'll be out. Are you Ryan J. McBride?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you received a copy of the complaints?
Yes, ma'am.
When did you receive a copy of the complaints?
Just now, ma'am.
Have you had the chance to read them?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you wish to waive the reading of the complaints? Or would you like me to read them?
With the waiver.
You've been charged with obstructing justice in violation of Ohio Revised Code Section 2921.32A4. Obstructing justice is a felony of the third degree. If you are convicted of a felony of the third degree, it carries with it a minimum term of 9 months confinement, maximum 36 months confinement, up to a $10,000 fine. Understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
You've also been charged with gross abuse of a corpse in violation of Revised Code Section 2927.01B. That's a felony of the fifth degree. If you're convicted of a felony of the fifth degree, it carries with it a minimum term of incarceration 6 months, maximum 12 months, up to a $2,500 fine. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's make you aware of your constitutional rights. You have a right to a jury trial. Although that would not take place here, it would take place in the Court of Common Pleas. You have a right to confront and cross-examine witnesses against you. You have the right to compulsory process to obtain witnesses in your favor. You have the right to require the state to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to testify at that trial, but you cannot be compelled to do so. You need not make any statement at any point in these proceedings, but any statement made can be used against you. You have a right to a reasonable bond. You have the absolute right to represent yourself. And you have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, the court will appoint one for you. It's a $25 application fee if you qualify. You would need to fill out a financial affidavit. You have a right to a reasonable continuance to secure counsel in this matter as well. Now, because you've been charged with a felony, 2 felonies, you have a right to a preliminary hearing. A preliminary hearing is a probable cause hearing that will be scheduled within 10 days. It'll be in this court. It is to determine if there was probable cause to believe a crime was committed and probable cause to believe that the appropriate person was charged with those crimes. If probable cause is found, the case will be bound over to the grand jury for further proceedings. Understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Because you have a right to that probable cause or preliminary hearing within 10 days, I will only take up the matter of bond and whether or not you wish an attorney to represent you in this matter. So do you intend to hire an attorney, or do you want to see if you qualify for court-appointed counsel?
Qualified.
So you want to take the application, and
Yes, ma'am.
we'll get you that application. All right. Does the state wish to be heard on the matter of bond?
If it pleases the court, because these charges are connected with a murder case and because the investigation is ongoing, we recommend a higher bond than usual for felonies of this severity. We would recommend that on the charge of obstructing justice, the court impose a bond of $60,000, and on the charge of gross abuse of a corpse, a bond of $15,000 for a total of $75,000. We recommend that the bond be cash, surety, or property, and that a recognizance bond not be allowed, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. McBride, anything you wish to say on your behalf?
No, ma'am.
I will follow the recommendations made by the prosecutor in this matter, and I will assess bond for obstructing justice, felony of the third degree, in the amount of $60,000, cash or surety or property, and $15,000, cash or surety property on the gross abuse of a corpse. This matter will be set for a preliminary hearing within 10 days. Anything further?
None on this case, Your Honor.
Thank you. That'll be all.
Gottschalk's mother, Barbara Carrara, said Gottschalk and Starky, her live-in boyfriend, had an argument because she was talking to someone else at a Geneva-on-the-Lake bar. Gottschalk had a friend bring her home on August 15th at about 2 a.m. Starky reportedly told Carrara he got home about 4 a.m. and she was missing and had not been seen since. Family and friends conducted a massive search for the mother of four. An investigation by sheriff deputies and Ashtabula police resulted in the discovery of Gottschalk's body in a shallow grave next to the entrance to the old Zerko Plastics plant on Monday, August 24th. Across the street and about a half dozen houses east of where Gottschalk and Starky were living. Starky's murder charges states he did purposely cause the death of Mandy M. Gottschalk. Both men were charged with abuse of a corpse in a way that would outrage reasonable community sensibilities. McBride's obstruction of justice charge alleges with purpose to hinder the discovery, apprehension, prosecution, conviction, or punishment of another for crime, or to assist another to benefit from the commission of a crime, did destroy or conceal physical evidence of the crime or act when the crime committed by the person was aggravated murder, or a felony of the first or second degree.